Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review of the GLEZ Mexican-made boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review of the GLEZ, which is short for Gonzalez, Mexican-made boxing gloves. I got mine in the white and metallic purple colorway. 16 ounces in lace-up. You can also get these gloves in Velcro in multiple different sizes as well as colorways. The exterior is made of full genuine cowhide leather with welted seams throughout. You also have a polyester satin liner on the inside of the hand compartment. Nothing out of the ordinary there. And a combination of latex and high density foam padding over the knuckles that I say is about medium in firmness. And the gloves are handmade in Mexico. Now, GLEZ is essentially the same brand and company as the authentic Casanova boxing gloves, which I recently did a review on in the same colorway. I got both models in white and metallic purple. Mainly because I don't really have a lot of gloves in this particular colorway. But they are the same company, and I initiated my glove order through their Instagram, Ambar Gonzalez Miranda, which I'll put down below in the description box. I do also know that the Boxer Boutique is selling these gloves as well. So if you want to check out their website, you can do so and check them out there. But I did initiate mine through their Instagram, and they kind of gave me the detailed breakdown of like what colors are available, the style I want, size, pricing, all of that. So do keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind, again, just like a lot of other smaller Mexican brands, it's kind of like a boutique brand where the colorways you get are going to be pretty much custom. I do know that the Boxer Boutique currently has several that just came in multiple different colorways, but those are all colorways I'm sure that they ordered and agreed to, and those all look amazing. So that's really one thing you notice a lot about these Mexican boutique brands is when they come out with the colorway that you like, oftentimes they have only limited sizes, whether it's like 14 or 16 ounces. They may not have them in like 10 or 12 or 18. So it's very kind of specific because they don't make a lot of them, right? They'll probably only make 2 or 3 pairs of that particular colorway, and that's pretty much it. So, and that kind of goes to with the closure part. Oftentimes you'll see these gloves are mostly in lace-up, but I do know that they have the ability to make them in Velcro if you wanted to. So if you're somebody that prefers Velcro over lace-up for your gloves, then I'm sure they can accommodate that. But those are all things to kind of keep in mind if you're looking at ordering these gloves, either from their Instagram or even if you want to get it from the Boxer Boutique. From a design standpoint, let's go ahead and start off with the profile and size of the glove. For a 16-ounce glove, is definitely a very tall glove, very long cuff. I say the width is pretty normal compared to other 16-ounce glove. It's not a very wide or very narrow glove. You can see it has kind of a tapered, angled look to it. But in terms of the length and height of the glove, it's definitely a longer glove. When you put it on, I'll just show you, you can see it really drops down pretty low onto my forearm. So again, that's completely subjective. Some people like that, some people don't. It's really up to you, but this definitely has a longer cuff. The leather on here has more of a semi-gloss finish, the white leather. You also notice that it has GLEZ that is actually, if you want to call it, embossed onto the back. So actually you can feel the letters are kind of raised up on the back of the glove. So it says GLEZ right there. I think that looks really good, really clean. I think they did a really nice job with the logo. It kind of has a little bit of a futuristic look to it with the GLEZ. And one thing you'll also notice that is the left glove has the Casanova tag actually stitched into the the side of the glove right here, right into the welted seam. The right glove doesn't have it, so obviously these two gloves go together, but for whatever reason they put it only on the left glove. So it does say Casanova to let you know that it is a Casanova product. Coming down to the back of the wrist support, it does say Professional GLEZ, made in Mexico with the Mexico flag colors, and the weight right there, 16 ounces, that is on the side of that tag. The actual cloth patch on here doesn't have any sharp edges, so they did a really nice job of trimming it down and stitching it onto the back of the wrist support right there. But there's no exposed sharp edges or anything like that that will cause any damage if you use these gloves for sparring. It is a segmented wrist support, so you have essentially two sections. You have a little bit down here at the bottom as well, but you have one flat section there, stitching across, and then you also have that bottom portion, and then you come down here, and you have that dark purple piping at the bottom that comes up to the palm side. So that's what they use for the piping on the palm as well as on the base of the thumb. The back of the wrist support, you're looking at about maybe 3/4 of an inch of padding on the back of the wrist. It's pretty firm density foam padding. You do have that polyester satin liner on the inside, nothing crazy there. The inside of the wrist support, like a lot of Mexican brands, you're looking at 1.5 to 1.75 of firm density foam padding. So there's a heavy emphasis on wrist support, particularly on the inner portion of the glove or the palm facing side. So you can see there's a ton of padding right there structurally to give you a great amount of wrist support. Once you lace up the gloves and have your trainer, your coach cinch them down, they put a lot of wrist support there. The laces on here are, I'd say, medium in length. They're not too long, not too short. You do have plastic tips, and it's kind of the same kind of theme, kind of a dark purple, which is cool. I like the fact that they went with like a dark purple lace to kind of go with the theme of the glove, to kind of match the welted seams. And the laces are a nice quality. They're kind of like a cotton polyester blend, so they have a little bit of flex and stretchability to the laces themselves. Dual stitching throughout the entire glove. You also have ventilated holes above and below the grip bar and on the inner portion of the thumb. The grip bar, like a lot of Mexican gloves too, is very firm and large. So I'm a big fan of the grip bar, because to me, that's the whole purpose of it, right? Why put a grip bar that you can't feel? So I like the fact that they do have a bigger grip bar that you can really wrap your hand around once your hand is in place inside the hand compartment. You do have a white leather attached thumb, and then you also have the split thumb color. So you have the metallic purple as well as the white. The metallic purple on here has a really nice color. Once you get it into the light, you can see how nice and shiny that looks, as well as on this side as well, and then on the back of the glove. And again, you know, I don't expect the metallic to last as long in terms of the color. You know, metallics on all gloves I've ever used will eventually flake off over time, especially on the thumb portion, because usually on the thumb, that's where you have it up against your face. So if you're like in a high guard, this part of the thumb is usually resting up against maybe your temple, or it's just on the side of your head, generally speaking, right? And if you're sweating a lot, like I do, that constant sweat, the salt in your sweat and the rubbing eventually will wear down the metallic, no matter how well you take care of it. And generally speaking, like I usually keep my gloves in really great shape. I'll like wipe them down, clean them, air them out. But eventually over time, they will start to break down. But as you guys can see, beautiful looking gloves in terms of the design, with the combination of the white and the metallic purple looks really sharp. Okay, let's talk about quality. First things first, let's talk about weight actually. So these gloves were quite overweight. When I put them on the scale, the left glove is, I believe, at 18.2 ounces over, so 18.2 ounces, which is 2.2 ounces overweight, and the right glove is at 18.3. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't surprised, because when I picked these gloves up, you could definitely tell they're not 16, they're heavier than that. But when I finally put them on the scale, both gloves are a little over 2 ounces overweight. Now, if you've seen any of my past videos, I always mention that I prefer a glove to be overweight, because at least I feel like I'm getting more for my money rather than being 2 ounces underweight. Now, if these gloves were 14 ounces, then that'd be a bigger issue to me, because now, you know, if I were to use these for sparring and using these as 16-ounce gloves, you know, some people are peculiar when it comes to that. They'll be like, well, you're using 14s, you're not really using 16s. Not that they would know that, but in my own mind, morally thinking about it, it would not sit right. So these gloves are definitely way overweight. The good news is that they're pretty much the same exact weight as each other. But again, a little over 2 ounces overweight for both. The leather has held up really nicely. I'd probably say that's one of the highlights of the glove, is the leather quality, very thick like you would expect from Mexican-made gloves. The stitching, I would say, is above average. The areas of the stitching that I feel that are the most biggest opportunities is like these outside edges, which is a shame, because you have all these welted seams that help sandwich in between the seams and add that durability. But you can see, like right out here, It's just the stitching was done very kind of sloppy on that outside and kind of pulling through. And I don't know if you guys can capture that in the video, but you can see some of the kind of the thread kind of just kind of coming over, and it looks pretty sloppy. So that's the area outside of it being overweight. That's my biggest concern. Other than that, you know, the metallic on here looks really good. The welted seams are done very nicely. And kind of give you guys a close-up of everything. Palm side looks good. In terms of the symmetry, the stitching looks pretty much the same on both gloves, but I'll show you the right glove as well. It's kind of those outside edges right there where you can see the stitching could have been done better. And rotate it around. Show you guys the palm, where the thumb meets the index finger. That's all done pretty well. Stitching there, stitching on the back of the wrist support. So that all looks good. So I'd say the biggest things are going to be the stitching as well, obviously, as the weight. In terms of balance, they put a ton of wrist support and padding through the middle of the glove. So you can see right there, it's very rigid. I mean, I'm literally just grabbing the back, the cuff of the glove, and you can see there's literally no flex to it at all. So it's not a floppy glove. So the good thing is that weight distribution is definitely there with the glove. In terms of symmetry, did a really nice job as well. You can see that the GLEZ on both gloves is pretty much centered. And same thing in terms of the height and the width of the glove. They're pretty much exactly on point. Rotating to that side, you can see that as well. The pre-curved hand compartment is pretty much identical. Maybe the left glove is a little bit more, but I mean barely. And you're looking at about, I'd say, 2 inches of thickness over the knuckles of foam. So 2 inches in total thickness there. Coming to the palm side, thumb placement's good. Again, height, width is all there. And thumb position, again, height, width, thumb position looks good on both gloves. So symmetrically speaking, everything looks really good. Even the weight tags on the inside, right next to the patch, looks really good. Patches look good as well. So yeah, 2 highlights in terms of quality, opportunities, weight, and stitching. Okay, let's talk about comfort. Let me slide my hands into the gloves. All right, so my initial thoughts on what I feel is going to be that liner feels really comfortable. There is no excess material, so the liner kind of creeps up and goes up above and around the top of my hands and down into the finger compartment. You also have the same kind of liner on the back of the thumb. The inner portion of the thumb, which is going to be the white portion right here, you could feel that they put some felt on the inside there, and they also used felt over the finger compartment stitching as well. So similar to a lot of other Mexican brands, I know Grant uses felt on theirs as well. So you have felt on the inside. The base piping on the gloves is a little tight and it takes some time to break in. So that base piping and that dark purple right here is a little snug on my left hand. My right, it's not too bad, but mainly because my right hand is not as fat at the bottom as my left. But there is a little bit of tightness, especially when you have hand wraps on. So you might get a little bit of a numbing sensation with these gloves. But the thumb position and the way the depth of the thumb compartment is good. So in terms of it being more of a pulled in thumb, and when I make a fist, you can see the attached thumb does its job by kind of keeping that thumb from flaring out. But I never felt like my thumb jammed when I land a punch, or felt like my thumb kind of felt the tip of the thumb kind of jam at the end of that thumb compartment. So that felt really good. The finger compartment, I'd say on here is a little more on the smaller side, a little more on the narrow side. And it fits me good, but I can definitely see if someone had larger hands than mine, you know, bigger fingers, that might cause some discomfort, a little bit of crowding. So I wish it was a little bit more roomier, and I wish that the hand compartment was a little bit deeper. It's definitely not as deep as the Casanova, the standard Casanovas. And that's probably by design, because they wanted to go with a completely different design glove than the Casanovas. Otherwise, that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of coming out with a different model of a glove if you keep everything the same. So I definitely feel like it's a little bit more on the shallow side. I'd say that the gloves, when you first get them, are about 70% broken in. You can open and close your hand to catch and parry shots, but there is a little bit of resistance to it. So the more you use these gloves and you soften up that foam over the knuckles, will give you the ability to really open and close your hand to catch shots. But when you first get them, I'd say like, 70%, I say broken in, and then that remainder 30% is up to you, obviously using these gloves to really soften them up. The grip bar feels great, that inner grip bar here. And again, you can feel the stitching, which is covered with a piece of felt in the finger compartment. So I'd say overall, they're a pretty comfortable glove, but there's a couple of small little issues, like the thumb piping being a little bit tight. And if you have larger hands, the finger compartment might be a little narrow, and I wish it was a little bit deeper to put my hand in a little bit more of a kind of pre-positioned fist position with my hand. But outside of that, liner feels really good, wrist support feels good as well. Protection and performance-wise, I'd say that this is a more protective glove. Now, this is one of those Mexican gloves where they put a little bit more emphasis on higher density foam. So this uses a high density foam, which is 20% and 80% latex. So you get the combination of those two foams, which to me makes for a more protective training glove. So you can essentially use this glove for hitting the bags, doing mitt work. You can use it for sparring. And the padding is very suitable for pretty much everything in the gym. It's definitely not a puncher's glove where you can feel your knuckles pierce right through the padding. It does not have horsehair in this particular model. So it's definitely more protective for both yourself and your sparring partner. If you already use it for sparring, you get a decent amount of crack out of the gloves and a really good amount of shock absorption. So using this on a more densely filled heavy bag like a Nazo, Prolast, those type of bags, those tarpaulin bags that are really densely packed, and it feels like it takes forever to really soften them up. This type of glove will do really good on that because you don't feel like you're gonna, reduce or create a lot of wear and tear on your hands compared to like gloves that are a softer type of foam where you can really put a lot of stress over your knuckles, your bones, your ligaments. So something like this definitely would be better suited for doing bag work and sparring and pretty much everything in the gym compared to like a puncher style horsehair glove. So definitely more on the protective end, in my opinion, when it comes to this glove. Decent amount of feedback, good amount of pop, but definitely more shock absorbent than your traditional Mexican style boxing glove. Cost-wise, these gloves are 1,800 Mexican pesos, at least when I purchased them, which converts over to about 98 US dollars. Now, keep in mind, you do have to pay for shipping, which can be expensive since it's international from Mexico. So I think shipping for these are like anywhere between $60 to $70. So once it was all said and done, let's just like round up, it's basically like $170 shipped from Mexico, at least here to Arizona. Now keep in mind, depending on where you're at in the world, if you're further away, obviously that's going to cost more. You can give them your zip code or your address, and then they can kind of come up with a quote on how much it would cost. But for me, these are about $170 shipped to my door, which is not a bad deal for a full genuine leather Mexican made glove. If you're looking for more of that authentic feeling Mexican glove, particularly one that's more protective, that gives you more shock absorption compared to some of the other standard softer latex / horsehair Mexican gloves, this would definitely be a good choice. It does have a couple of issues, obviously, with the quality when it comes to some of the stitching. It's really overweight. And the issue with it being overweight is if, say, for example, you want to get a 16-ounce version that's true 16, you probably have to get a 14-ounce glove, right? Because then it's probably going to be 16 in its real weight. The issue is the hand compartment being a little bit more on the compact side. And I have medium-sized hands. I'm not like a large dude by any means. So I think that's kind of an issue there, especially for people that have larger hands, bigger dudes. That's going to be an issue in my opinion. But outside of that, $170, I definitely think is a very fair price, all things considered, for a glove like this. And you get multiple different colors you can choose from. It's a completely custom looking glove, and I've seen some amazing colorways that they put together that look really sharp and that nobody else in the gym will probably have, yet alone in your gym, but anywhere else, right? So I definitely think solid deal. Hopefully they can correct some of the small issues and have an even better product. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do, put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box. You can find these GLEZ Mexican made boxing gloves. See you guys later. Peace.